And good morning, world. It is 8:30 a.m. on the 3rd of February 2016. A number of you seem to have liked that video I did on the 8th house, so I thought, well, why not stick with the houses for the time being? I've been working a lot recently with issues and people surrounding the 12th house. So here's my 21st century 2016 take on the 12th house. It is the last house of the zodiac. It relates to the 12th sign, the sign of Pisces. Remember, planets in signs show how that planetary energy manifests in you. Planets in houses show how that energy manifests itself in and through the outside world. There's a number of challenges with the 12th house, and I'll deal with them before I come to the positives. Often, people who have serious addiction issues, whether it is to chocolate, sugar, sex, alcohol, narcotics, prescriptive medicines, often but not always, there's a strong 12th house bias. Normally there'll be difficult planets in the 12th house, or planets that come under difficult squares or oppositions for this to occur. The 12th house is the house of being isolated. And it's where people sort of tend to withdraw into themselves and become more withdrawn from community, from society, more isolated in themselves. Sometimes this can be through choice, with things like monks, nuns, hermits, recluses. I've seen it in the charts of agoraphobics and claustrophobics. Claustrophobics, not agoraphobics. It's also the position where you will find that people will work in institutions where people are confined, whether it is hospitals, prisons, or places, institutions where people simply cannot leave for whatever reason. There is a fear of the unknown with a lot of 12th house energy. In fact, it's not really fear of the unknown, because the unknown can be brought into the light and made known. It is fear of the unknowable, where the 12th house can become phobic. Not paranoid, not fearful, but phobic. Fear of the unknown, fear of the unknowable. At the same time, however, there's a lot of very positive attributes towards the 12th house. This is the area of dream. This is where the most visionary and imaginative potentials come from. Whatever you dream you can do, begin it, start it now. There's boldness and vision in innovation, as paraphrasing Goethe. There's a great art with the 12th house, the ability to tap into the unconscious, the subconscious, not only in oneself but also in the global gestalt, and to be able to bring through a lot of novelty through vision, art, dream, imagination and creativity. A lot of the film directors, artistes, dancers, painters will have a strong 12th house connotation. This is possibly due to Neptune's rulership of Pisces and thus its affiliation with the 12th house. There's certainly a great deal of intuition with the 12th house. Now, I would not call it psychic. Psychic is the domain of the 8th house. But the 12th house is the house of the intuition. Intuition is when you know that something is right or wrong by a sense of moral gut feel. It just immediately and instinctively says, no, this isn't right. They're not telling me the truth. This is a lie, or this doesn't feel right. That's intuition. There's also a great deal of empathy. Sympathy is when you feel what's going on for other people and you feel sorry for them, or you try and identify with what's going on. But empathy is when you actually feel what they're going through. It's people with a lot of 12th house I would describe as quite strong when it comes to being a psychic sponge. They soak up so much empathy from other people that if they're not careful, they can take on other people's problems or illnesses and become the sacrificial victim or martyr. There's certainly, however, a room for a great deal of compassion. As long as 12th house people can avoid soaking up other people's stuff and becoming the repository for other people's problems and challenges, which will drive them into seclusion, then the 12th house is a place where the difference between being lonely and being alone becomes very obvious. There is a sense of aloneness in the 12th house, but this is not a negative thing. Some of the more common things I find with the 12th house is that people with a lot of, especially challenging aspects to the 12th house, are those who will, for some reason, adorn their body, whether it is with tattoos, piercings or other decorations. Quite why I haven't worked out yet, but it does seem to be common. 12th house people would ideally benefit from living very close to the sea. They do get on well with large bodies of water. And sometimes the best thing for the 12th house person every so often, once a month ideally, would be to go off and suspend themselves in a flotation tank. The idea of being in the dark, not touching anything and just floating would be, heaven to them. It would help them dissolve all of those boundaries that the world imposes upon them and make them feel much more unified with the largest universe. If there's one problem with the 12th house, it's in negotiating a sense of identity with oneself. It's much easier to feel part of the greater whole than to be an individual. The 12th house, the area of the unconscious, the subconscious, the dream and the vision, but also where one can persecute oneself and become isolated. If you've got a lot of 12th house planetary energy, then do take time out to be alone, to charge oneself out, but don't become a hermit because you didn't volunteer for that. There you go, World 12th house. Catch you later. Bye.